Hare Krishna, everyone. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitan Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we will be discussing the topic of Bhaktivinod Thakur and his songs. Bhaktivinod Thakur was one of our recent acharyas, and an extraordinary acharya in terms of the contributions he has made to Chaitanya's movement. Bhaktivinod Thakur, great acharya, great realizations, and extraordinary poetic talent. And he's an acharya where there is a confluence of spiritual realizations, creativity, literary creativity, composition. In every aspect, Bhaktivinod Thakur excelled. A great inspiration. And Srila Prabhupada, there was once Prabhupada was taking a morning walk in London. Not many devotees were there. There was the temple president of London. He was there with him. And then they were talking little informally, and then that devotee told Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivinod Thakur is my second most favorite writer. So Prabhupada paused and he said, second? Why? And then the devotee didn't know what to answer, and then he was still fumbling and thinking about that. A few seconds passed, and then Prabhupada said, if I had just 1/10 of Bhaktivinod Thakur's, Prabhupada, by then he was already sobbing. He just didn't even complete the sentence. And he said, such a great acharya. So Prabhupada was like that. Just a mention of these great acharyas would actually move him into ecstasy and tears. So Prabhupada also appreciated Bhaktivinod Thakur and respected, loved him and devoted to him like that. So Bhaktivinod Thakur wrote many songs, many poems. Actually, they are compiled in the form of 4 books. One is known as Kalyana Kalpataru. A second book is known as Sharanagati. The third book is known as Gitavali. And the fourth book is known as Gitamala. In fact, some of the biographers say that there are many more compositions, just that they have not been systematically gathered, probably, and arranged together. And so Bhaktivinod Thakur, great acharya, great composer. And today I wanted to share with all of you one particular song. This is in Bengali, and I will read out. The song is known as Bhuliya Tomare. As I said, it's a poem from Sharanagati, which Bhaktivinod, one of the second book that of songs that Bhaktivinod Thakur composed. And Bhuliya Tomare, referring to Krishna, Tomare, to you, Krishna, and Bhuliya means forgetting. The first verse of the song, Bhuliya Tomare samsare asiya पे नाना विधा व्यथा, तुम्हारा चरणे आसियाचे आमी, बोलिबो दुखेरा कथा. This word bhuliya tomare, bhuliya simply means forget. I forgot you, my Lord. I forgot you, Krishna. I forsook you, Krishna. And samsare asiya, and I came to this samsara. I came to this world of samsara. And what did I experience? Peye, experience nana vidha vyatha. And I came to this world and experienced different kinds of miseries. So this is what Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying. And Tomara charane asyache ami. And now I have realized what has happened to me in my life. And now I have come asyache ami, to your lotus feet. Tomara charane asyache ami. And now I wish to submit my bolibo. I want to share, I want to submit dukkhera katha, and my story of miseries. And this beautiful song has 7 verses. I forsook you, O Lord, and came to this world of pain and sorrow. Now I submit my tale of woe at your lotus feet. Actually, this is what happens when we forsake Krishna and trying to become adventurous and come to this world. This world is a world of pain and sorrow. Peye nana vidha vyatha. And we must come to this understanding that we should again come back to the lotus feet of the Lord, Tomare charane asyache ami, and submit our tale of woe at his lotus feet. So we will go verse by verse. And now we go to the second verse. In the second verse, Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, Janani jhatare chilama jakona bishama bandhana phashe. He's saying, Janani jhatare, when I was still in the womb of my mother, jakona bishame, it was a painful stay in the mother's womb. Bandhana phashe, bishama bandhana phashe. And it was a bound up in that state in the mother's womb. And at that time, I was extremely in a very, very painful situation. And Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, and at that time, when I was in my mother's womb, Janani jhatare chilame jakona, bishame bandhana phashe, bound up, and at that painful situation, and I prayed to the Lord, I prayed to Krishna, and you appeared before me. Ekabara Prabhu dekha diya more. You made me see once, and vanchile e dina dase, and you disappeared. You made your appearance very briefly, and you gave your darshan, and you disappeared. And so this is what Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying. What is he referring to? Actually, Bhaktivinod Thakur, when he wrote all these poems, these are all solidly founded on philosophy, Krishna conscious philosophy. So first I'll read the translation. While still in the unbearable fetters of my mother's womb, I saw you before me. Ekabara Prabhu dekha diya more. You revealed yourself but briefly, and then abandoned this poor servant of yours. Dina dase, poor servant of yours. Vanchile, you abandoned me, and I couldn't see you. So, Janani jhatare chilame jakona bishama bandhana pashe. Ekabar Prabhu dekha diya more vanchila e dina dase. Now, why is Bhaktivinod Thakur saying that? There is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam where this is towards the end of the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Kapila is saying this, and this is the verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nathamana rishir bhitaha saptavadrihi krutanjalihi stuvitatam viklavaya vacha yenodharer pitaha. Kapila Deva is saying the living entity is described here in this verse as Rishihi, meaning intelligent, thoughtful. Actually, the living entity is thoughtful, is a conscious living entity. So he is sometimes described with the word Rishi, can refer to the living entity. And he is Nathamana Rishir Bhitaha. When the living entity is in the mother's womb, especially in the 7th month, by then the bodily features have all developed, and at that time the living entity is bhitaha, full of fear. And at that time, nathamana rishir bhitaha. Now, we are reading about all these things. It looks like, we are talking about a living entity in the mother's womb. We don't realize we went through this. This is not a story about others. It's about ourselves. Nathamana rishi bhitaha saptavadrihi krutanjalihi. The living entity is actually bound by 7 layers. It is said that in the Vedic literatures, the living entity is bound by 7 layers. It is described in different ways that the 7 layers are skin, there is the blood, there is the muscles, there is bones, there is fat, and so on. Like that kind of 7 sapta dhatu. Here it is known as sapta vadrihi. And at that time, the living entity is krutanjalihi, with folded hands, nathamana rishir bhitaha. And at that time, stuvitatam viklavaya. And with a faltering voice, stuvita, he prays to the Lord. Vacha yenodhare arpitaha. And then he prays to the Lord who has kept the living entity in the womb. And following this verse, there is a series of verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's good devotees read that one. And commenting on this song, Srila Prabhupada once gave a talk, and I'll read some portions of that one. We get information from revealed scriptures that when the baby is in the mother's womb, an extremely uncomfortable situation, he prays to God for deliverance and promises to worship Him alone as soon as he gets out. To pray to God when he is in difficulty is a natural instinct in every living being, because he is eternally related with God. But after his deliverance, the child forgets the difficulties of birth and forgets his deliverer also, being influenced by Maya, the illusory energy. This is a reference from the Bhagavad Gita purport. Thakona bhavinu janama phaya koribo bhajana thava. Janama hoilo phadimaya jale na hoile gnana lava. Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, at that moment, Thakona bhavinu janama phaya, I koribo bhajana thava. And at that time, I made up my mind. I made a promise. Now, if I come out of this mother's womb, from this terrible situation I am in, let me get my birth, and I will certainly koribo bhajana tava, and I promised you I will worship you, Krishna. Please take me out of this miserable situation. And then janama hoilo, and I took birth. Podi Maya Jale. And once I took birth, and Podi Maya Jale, I fell into the network of illusion. And the material world and the illusion just grabbed me. Na hoilo gnana lava. And I could not remember you at all. And that a promise I had made, everything I forgot. So translation, at that moment, I swore to worship you after taking birth. But birth came, and with it, the network of worldly illusion, which robbed me of all good sense. So, I'll read a small portion from a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave on this particular verse. So, Bhaktivinod Thakur sings, "My dear Lord, when I was in the womb of my mother, at that time I saw you once. You became visible." Then Prabhupada clarifies here, those who are spiritually advanced, they can see God within the womb of the mother. It's not for everybody, it's for the advanced souls. Those who are spiritually advanced, they can see God within the womb of the mother. When the child remains packed up and the consciousness is gained, he feels very uncomfortable. So at that time, one who is pious, spiritually advanced, he prays to God, "Please rescue me from this bondage. I am too much suffering." And this time, after taking my birth, I shall simply be engaged in Krishna consciousness. Promises. So the living entity makes a promise like that. And continuing, but Bhaktivinod Thakur says, "Janama hoilo podi maya jale." As soon as birth is taken, Maya is there. We forget. Immediately, father, mother, other relatives, they take up the child and pats very nice. So in this way, we forget that we were in such a precarious condition. Almost it is suffocating. After coming out of the womb of the mother, if you're packed up again, Prabhupada is saying, after coming out of the womb of the mother, if you're packed up again in such an airtight bag, within 3 seconds you will die. We live under the protection of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, that is not a living condition. Just imagine within the womb. So this we forget. So Prabhupada talked about this particular song in Los Angeles in June 1972. Bhaktivinod Thakur says, "Adharera chele, swajanera khole, hasiya katanu kala, janaka janani snehete bhuliya, samsara laghilo bhalo." So, Adharera chele. Actually, Bhaktivinod Thakur is recollecting his own life, which is actually very true in everyone's case. So, he's saying, Adharera chele, chele, son, Adharera, adorable son I was, Swajanera kole, in the arms of my relatives, kole, in the arms, and hasiya katanu kala, and I spent my time laughing. They were all adoring me, and I was so happy. See, what has happened to the living entity was in the very difficult situation in the Janani Chatare, in the mother's womb, and made a promise that I will worship you alone. We forgot everything, and we have come into this world, Swajanera kole, hasiya katanu kala. Smilingly, happily we are spending our time. And then Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, Janaka Janani snehete bhuliya. And the affection, sneha, that Janaka and Janani, father and mother, showed me, made me further forget, bhuliya, made me snehete bhuliya, and made me forget all of the promises that I have given. And then samsara lagilo bhalo. And then I started to think, this samsara, this material world, bhalo, very nice, it's so enjoyable. I started thinking like that. So this is what happens to the living entity, especially when the living entity is very young, and children, family, father, mother, brother, sister, uncles, neighbor, they're all holding him and making him laugh, and so nice. And then, and in that love and affection, we forget everything and we start regarding this material world, samsara lagilo bhalo. Because for spiritual advancement, this is an important learning, that we must know that this material world is a place of misery. It's not a great place. Of course, today, all over the world, I think some kind of a realization is coming to people that what a terrible world this is. And of course, the Shastras have been reminding us, the Acharyas have been telling, but we never woke up to that reality and that understanding. And so the Janaka Janani Snehete Bhuliya, and all the affection that our family members show further helped me forget the promise I have made. And I started thinking, this world of misery, a great place. So the translation: as a fondled son in the lap of relatives, I passed my time smiling and laughing. My parents' affection helped me forget the pangs of birth, and I thought the world a very pleasant place. Commenting on this particular verse, there is one small statement by Srila Prabhupada in the same class. Prabhupada says, and being taken care of affectionate father and mother on the lap, we think this life is very nice, but this is Maya, this is illusion. So Prabhupada is actually helping us remember these things, understand these things. Now we'll go to the next verse, text 5. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes further what happened to him. Krame dina dina balaka hoya, kelinu bhalaka saha. This is what happens to all of us. Day by day, balaka hoya, he grew up and became a boy. And kelinu bhalaka saha, and there were many other boys, and I was playing with them. Ara kichu dine gnana upajilo. And then some more time went by, and gnana upajilo, I became more and more grown up and more enlightened, more knowledgeable. Pata podi aharaha. And he says that he started studying his books very carefully, day and night, and incessantly he was studying. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we know that he was born in a very good family, and he grew up and he was very well educated during his time, and that's how he became a district magistrate under the British government. So he was very educated, he studied well, and so he's describing his situation. Translation: day by day I grew and soon began playing with other boys. Krame dine dine bhalaka hoya, kelinu bhalaka saha. Before long my powers of intellect emerged. Arakichu dine gnana upajilo. And I studied my lessons incessantly. Pata podi ahara. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, very similar to all of us, we must have all gone through this, either boys or girls. We went to school, we studied our lessons very carefully, and that's how life was going on. Text 6. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Vidyara gaurave brahmi deshe deshe dhana uparjana khori. As I said earlier, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very well educated. He was educated in English, he was a scholar in Bengali, he was a scholar in Sanskrit. So he's saying that he Vidyara Gaurave Brahme Deshi Deshi. He was very proud of his education, and he traveled from place to place. Dhana Uparjana Khori, and accumulating money. Swajana Palana Khori Ekamane, with one pointed attention. Swajana Palana. And he had his family, he had many children, and he with one pointed attention, Kori Ekamane Swajana Palana, he was taking care of all the family members, and in this way, Bhulinu Tomare Hari, and he's lamenting, Krishna, Hari, I forgot you. And so the translation, traveling from place to place, proud of my education, I grew wealthy and maintained my family with undivided attention. O Lord Hari, O Krishna, I forgot you. So this is the lamentation of Bhaktivinod. Now we'll go to the last verse, the 7th verse. Bhardhakye ekhona Bhaktivinodha Kandiya Khatara Ati. Now Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying that this is what I did when I was a young boy. I was fondled, I was on the lap of my relatives, and I forgot about you, and then I studied my books, and then I started earning money, taking care of my family, and now I have become old. Bhardhakye, in old age, ekhona, now Bhaktivinodha, Kandiya Khatara Ati. And in great sadness, Kandiya, he weeps. Ati Khatara, Kandiya. With great sadness, I weep. Na bhajiya tore. I did not worship you, my dear Lord. Dina vratha gelo. In this way, my days, dina vratha gelo, and I wasted my time in uselessly. And then he is praying to Krishna, Ekona ki hobe gati. Now, what is the hope for me? What will happen to me? And I'll read the translation. Now, in old age, I, Bhaktivinoda, weep sadly. I fail to worship you, O Lord, and instead passed my life in vain. What will my fate be now? Ekona ki habe gati. So with this we'll come to the end of this particular song, and this is I hope you all like this also. It's a song for wonderful meditation, and how Bhaktivinod Thakur describing his own example, and a situation that we are all in, forgetting the Lord, absorbed in the material world, caught in the illusion of this world, thinking that this world, samsara lagilo bhalo, this world is all wonderful, and with my intelligence I'll make it even more wonderful, and that kind of a thinking, this kind of an illusion we are in. So Bhaktivinod Thakur is helping us come out of that one. Namaste, Hare Krishna. Namaste, Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shripasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhaktivinod Thakur, one of the great acharyas in our sampradaya, Srila Prabhupada and his guru Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his father Bhaktivinod Thakur. Bhaktivinod Thakur was a great philosopher, great scholar, great devotee, and endowed with great creative talents of writing. And he wrote many poems, and he was a scholar in Bengali, Sanskrit, and English also. And today we will be discussing a composition of Bhaktivinod Thakur. This one is in Sanskrit. And he wrote this poem, and it is called Shri Godruma Chandra Bhajana Upadesha. This is Bhajana Upadesha, instructions for worshipping Lord Chaitanya, who is the moon of the island of Godrum Dweep. We are all familiar with Navadvip. There are 9 islands, and Ganga flows through around them, and hence they form many islands. And one of the islands known as Godrum Dweep, and Chaitanya performed many leelas there, and hence he is known as Godruma Chandra. And so Godruma Chandra or Navadvip Chandra or Mayapur Chandra, these are all different names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Bhaktivinod Thakur has called this composition Shri Godruma Chandra Bhajana Upadesha. So we all want to worship Chaitanya, we want to serve Lord Chaitanya, and Bhaktivinod Thakur is giving some very, very valuable instructions on how to worship and how to serve Chaitanya in this composition. And another composition of Bhaktivinod Thakur, and as I said, this is in Sanskrit. Now we will go to the first verse. Bhaktivinod Thakur says, Yadi te haripada saroja sudha rasapana param hridayam satatam parihritya griham kalibhavamayam bhaja godrumakanana kunja vidhu. This last line, Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunja Vidhum, keeps repeating in every verse that we will be discussing. And it simply means Bhaja, this is worship, Godrumakanana Kunja. Godrumakanana, Godruma, forest of Godruma. Kunja, there is a bowers there, groves there. Godruma Kanana Kunja. Vidhu. Vidhu means the moon. So in the title he used the word Chandra, Godruma Chandra. In the composition, Bhaktivinod Thakur has used the word Vidhu, moon of Godruma Kanana Kunja. And he begins by saying, Yadite Haripada Saroja Sudha Rasapana Param Hridayam Satatam. He sets out a very, very wonderful beginning. And he says, Yadite. Yadite means, if you want to. He's giving an option to the reader, to all of us. If you want to, in case you want to, suppose you want to. He's saying, what is he offering? Yadite Haripada Saroja Sudha Rasapana Param Hridayam Satatam. Very poetic composition you can see. Haripada, the lotus feet of Lord Hari, which is Saroja. Saroja is lotus feet of Haripada. And about Haripadas, Saroja Haripada, the lotus feet of Lord Hari, there is a Sudha. there is a nectar there. And that nectar, rasa, very, very tasty, very relishable. And pana param, meaning if you want to be engrossed, pana param, you want to be absorbed. This word param has a very interesting way of using in Sanskrit. It means, here it means pana param means want to be absorbed in, engrossed in drinking. In the next few verses also this usage comes. I'll take up that at that time. So, and this sudha, rasa, how do you drink this? You don't drink this with your lips. You drink it in your heart, hridayam. So, yadite haripada saroja sudha rasapana param hridayam. And what is this? You drink and relish this sudha once in a way, 5 minutes a day or something like that. No, satatam. He is offering an opportunity if you can incessantly, constantly, always be relishing, absorbed in the sudha, nectar of the lotus feet of Hari. If you want to do that, yadite, so he is giving an option. And now he says, I will now give you several instructions how to worship Chaitanya. If you want to do this, you have to worship Chaitanya. And how to worship Chaitanya, he is giving varieties, different kinds of instruction. And the first instruction is, parihritya griham khali bhavamayam. Generally, in this material world, if everybody in the house has a material concept of life, you see, that kind of a household is, there will be kali bhavamayam. It is full of strife, dissension, differences, disagreement, quarrels. Kali bhavamayam griham. Such a house, parihritya. He's saying you must give up. So this is the first and very powerful instruction. If you want to relish incessantly and be absorbed in the nectar of the lotus feet of Lord Hari, then you must transform your house, and it should not be kali bhavamayam griham. If one is having a material concept of life, it will always be like this. I know one family, a very nice family, very good devotees of our temple, donors of our temple, not so much devotees. And he tells me, and all are very, very intelligent people, went abroad, studied abroad, and all those kind of things. And he tells me, Prabhuji, in our house, we are 5 people. On every issue, we have 6 opinions, each one having an opinion, and we keep talking, discussing, and all of those kind of things. So you can imagine, and I have sometimes closely seen them for a many number of years, and I've seen how different kinds of kali bhavamaya, how it happens. So that's how one may be very rich, one may be very educated, and all of those kind of things. Unless one is a devotee of Krishna, have a different conception of life. What is life about? It will be kali bhavamayam. Parihritya griham kali bhavamayam bhaja gotru makanana kunjavitam. This is what Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying. Now we'll read the translation of that verse. If your heart wishes to be always absorbed in drinking the ambrosial mellows of the lotus feet of Lord Hari, Haripada Saroja Sudha Rasapana Param, then give up mundane household life. Parihritya griham, full of Kali Yuga quarrels and strife, Kali Bhavamayam, and just worship the beautiful moon with whom of Godruma's forest bowers. Godruma Kanana Kunja Vidhum Bhaja, worship. The second verse talks about dhana yauvana jivana rajya sukham nahi nityam anukshana nashaparam tyaja gramya katha sakalam viphalam bhaja godrumakanana kunjavidhum. So here Bhaktivinod Thakur is reminding us these are things that we all aspire for in this world. Number one, dhana, wealth. And yauvana, we all aspire for youthful life. Jivana, long life. Rajya sukham, and kingdom and opulent life. These are the aspirations of everyone in this world. We want wealth, youthful life, long life, and opulent pleasures that come with opulence, all of these things. And Bhaktivinod Thakur is reminding us, nahi nityam anukshana nashaparam. Please don't depend on all these things for your pleasure. These are not eternal. They are nashaparam. They are destined to be destroyed. Here you see that usage of the word nashaparam, panaparam, engrossed in drinking and tasting and relishing. Here he's saying these material things are nashaparam. They are going to be destroyed. You cannot control these things. It will not be with us forever. And next he's giving another instruction. Tyaja gramya katha sakalam viphalam. Gramya katha means talks about the material world. And Shukadev Goswami describes in the Srimad Bhagavatam that when the human society is apashyatam atma tattvam, when the human society does not know the truth about the soul, about the self, then we create drunam santi sahasrashaha, shrotavyadini rajendra, drunam santi sahasrashaha. Human society creates thousands and thousands of topics for discussion. And such topics for discussion in the material world, being blind to the truth about the soul and the self, that constitutes Gramya Katha. And Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, Tyaja Gramya Katha, because Sakalam Viphalam, all of that is actually useless. And so please give up all these things and Bhaja Godruma Kanana Kunjavidam. This is Bhaktivinod Thakur's instruction about the material world, his assessment of the material world, and how the conditioned soul aspires for these things. But the truth of these things is they are nashaparam. Let's read the translation. Material riches, dhana, youth, yauvana, a long life, jivana, and royal happiness, rajyasukam, none of these are certain, nahi nityam. At every moment they are being destroyed, anukshana nashaparam. Give up all useless mundane conversations, gramya katha, tyaja gramya katha, and just worship, bhaja, the moon, beautiful moon, vidhum of Godruma's forest powers. Godruma kanana kunja vidhum, bhaja Godruma kanana kunja vidhum. So this is the second instruction of Bhaktivinod Thakur. Another interesting instruction of Bhaktivinod Thakur, how if we want to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and as he said, if you want your heart to be constantly relishing Haripada Saroja Sudha Rasapana Param Hridayam Satatam, he's Ramani Jana Sanga Sukham Chasakhe Charame Bhayadam Purusharthaharam Harinama Sudha Rasamatthamathir Bhaja Godruma Kanana Kunjavidhu. In this material world, when we are blind to the truth about Atma Tattva. And like he described, Dhana Yavana Jivana Rajya Sukham, that is what the conditioned soul aspires for in the material world. He's giving further another very, very much sought after pleasure in this material world. And that pleasure is Ramanijana Sangha Sukha. And that is Ramanijana Sangha Sukha. Ramanijana meaning company of very beautiful women. And for a man it is woman, and vice versa. For a woman it is the man. And such Sangha, association of such beautiful women or beautiful or young handsome men, in that Sangha, in that association, in that attachment, there is a Sukha. There is a great pleasure in that. And so he is saying, Sakhe, he is addressing, Bhaktivinod Thakur is addressing, oh friend, he is calling out, it's in a Sakhe, he is saying, Ramanijana Sangha Sukham, the pleasure that is there in the association of beautiful women. What happens with that is Charame Bhayadam. It has two effects, Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying. One is Charame Bhayadam. It ultimately fills your heart with fear. Actually, that attachment to women, I'm speaking from a man's point of view, and equally, attachment for a man, for a woman, what it does is, ultimately, Charame, in the end, Bhayadam, it actually creates fear in the heart of a living entity. Naturally, once you become very attached to beautiful women and the family and all of those kind of things, and then if anything happens, and any insecurity, anything happens in this world, Charame Bhayadam, it creates fear in the heart. And the second effect of this Ramanijana Sangha Sukha is that Purusharthaharam. Purushartha means human life as a human being. There is a certain goal, there is a certain purpose for this. And that attachment and being engrossed in such attachment to beautiful women and all of those things actually takes away our focus from the true goal of life. It is Purusharthaharam. If you want to be focused on Purushartha, the goal of human life, and the goal of human life, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches, is Krishna Prema. Pumso, Krishna Prema is the highest Purushartha that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offers. So which is Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prema. And this attachment, Ramanijana Sangha Sukham Cha Sakhe, it creates fear ultimately in the heart, and it takes away Purusharthaharam. And then Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, once again he is reminding, Harinama Sudha. Earlier he started with Haripada Saroja Sudha. Now he is telling, in Harinama there is a nectar in the holy name of Hari. And if you want to be absorbed in that Sudha, Rasamattamatir. Matihi means our consciousness, our heart. And Mattha means to be intoxicated with. If you want your consciousness to be intoxicated with the mellows of Harinama, the holy name of Lord Hari, then you worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you have been hearing from other sessions of Madhu Pandit Prabhu, I'm sure. You're seeing that how Harinama, we have to chant the holy name with devotion, with faith, with attention. And all of that is possible by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And if you want that Harinama Sudha, Rasamattamatir, if you want your consciousness to be intoxicated by that, that's the offering of Bhaktivinod Thakur. We must have faith in the words of the Acharyas. Because it is from their experience they are saying these things. you can have your consciousness intoxicated in Harinama, Sudha, when you worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's read the translation. O friend, Sakhe, he is addressing, the pleasure to be had in the company of beautiful young women, Ramani Jana Sangha Sukham, ultimately charame turns to fearfulness, charame bhayadam, and distracts one from the true goal of human life, purusharthaharam. With your mind intoxicated by the nectarian mellows of the holy name of Lord Hari, Harinama Sudhara Samattamatir, just worship the beautiful moon Vidhum of Godruma forest bower, Godruma Kanana Kunja Vidhum Bhaja. Text 4. Jada Kavya Raso Nahir Kavya Rasaha Kalipavana Gaura Raso Hirasaha Alamanya Kathadyanushila Bhaja Godruma Kanana Kunja Vidhum. Here Bhaktivinod Thakur has brought up a very esoteric kind of a subject matter. Kavya Rasa. Kavya means poetry, and there is a certain kind of a very, very nice taste about Kavya Rasa. Very refined people in the world, they relish this. They discuss about Kavya Rasa, about the poetry and nice compositions around the world. In the civilized world, we see that there is poetry in different languages and people discuss that. So that's called Kavya Rasa. And Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, in Jada Kavya Rasa, Nahi Kavya Rasaha. Jada Kavya means poetry or description about the material world, about all the mundane things. That's considered to be Jada. Because in the material world, it is Jada, it is immobile, or it's not active, because the active force is spirit. Actually, it's the spirit which gives motion to matter. Just like I'm sitting in front of all of you and I'm speaking and I'm using my hands and I'm using my vocal cords and I'm talking, all of these things. All of this is working because the spirit soul is present. Suppose the spirit soul leaves this body here and I won't be able to sit like this. My hands won't move. I'll just collapse. Isn't it? So the active principle in this body is the spirit soul. It's actually the spirit soul which moves matter. There is one quote by Srila Prabhupada. I think Prabhupada had seen some cities in America and all of those kind of things in the 70s. And then it had struck him that how big buildings and so many cars and flyovers and all of that. It was not so much in India, you can imagine. So Prabhupada was seeing that more in the West. So Prabhupada said, just look at this huge city, skyscraper buildings, cars and sky highways and expressways, and all of this is happening. It's all happening because of the spirit soul. Because matter by itself cannot organize or reorganize by itself. It's actually the spirit which moves matter. And hence matter is considered jada and spirit is considered chetana, that which has got life. This material world appears to be lively because of the presence of chetana. If chetana is not there, it is jada. And so these descriptions of the material world, however poetic it may be, it's considered to be jada kavya. And people relish that. So Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, jada kavya rasa nahi kavya rasaha. It's not really the true taste of actual poetry. Kalipavana Gaura Rasohi Rasaha. He's saying, Gaura, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has come to Kalipavana, to purify Kali Yuga, the people of Kali Yuga, the residents of Kali Yuga. He is the savior of Kali Yuga. He is Kalipavana. And description about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is real rasa. Kalipavana Gaura Rasohi Rasaha. That is true poetic taste. You will find that in the description of Gaurahari, who has come to deliver Kali Yuga. And then he is saying, Alam Anya Kathadhyanushilanaya. Anya Katha means other than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, descriptions about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, descriptions about Krishna. Anya Katha Anushilanaya. In this material world, we cultivate and we develop and understand all these things, and that is alam, useless. So Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying that give up cultivation of Anya Katha because it is alam, it is useless. Bhaja Godruma Kanana Kunjavitam. The taste of mundane poetry, Jadakavya, never provides the sweet taste of actual poetry. Kavya rasa is supposed to be sweet. This Jada Kavya never provides. The sweet mellows of true poetry are verily found in the descriptions of Lord Gaura, the savior of all souls in the Kali Yuga. Kalipavana Gaura Rasohi Rasaha. The diligent study of all other topics, that's Anushilanaya, very diligently we study, is useless. Alam, just worship the beautiful moon of Godruma's forest bowers. Bhaja Godruma Kanana Kunjavita. In text 5, Bhaktivinod Thakur is describing Radha and Krishna. Vrishabhanu Sutanvita Vamatanum Yamuna Tatanagara Nanda Sutam Murali Kala Gita Vinoda Param Bhaja Godruma Kanana Kunjavitu. Vrishabhanu Sutha Sutanvita Vamatanu. Vama means to the left. To Krishna's left is Vrishabhanu Sutha, daughter of Vrishabhanu. And we can see Radharani, to Krishna's left. And Krishna is known as Yamuna Tata Nagara Nanda Sutta. He is Nanda Sutta. He is son of Nanda Maharaj. And he is known to be doing his pastimes on Yamuna Tata, the banks of Yamuna river. And he is the Nagara. And Nagara means a clever person, a very intelligent, prominent person. Yamuna Tata Nagara Nanda Suttam. And Murali Kala Gita Vinoda Param. And he plays on this, on his Murali, and which is Vinoda Param. And he is engaged in giving pleasure to the devotees. And he is Vinoda Param. He is engrossed in giving pleasure. That is Krishna doing that. And so that Lord has now appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so we should worship him. His left side enhanced by the daughter of Vrishabhanu, Vrishabhanu Sutanvita Vamatanu. Nanda Sutta, the transcendental paramour, stands on the bank of Yamuna river, Yamuna Tata, Nagara, transcendental paramour. Nanda Sutta, the son of Nanda Maharaj, absorbed in the pleasure-giving pastime of playing soft, melodious songs on his flute. Just worship him, the beautiful moon of Godruma's forest bowers. Here in text number 6, Bhaktivinod Thakur is describing a little more about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his setting. So in text number 6, Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, Hari Kirthana Madhyagatam Swajanai Pariveshtita Jambu nadhabaharim Nija Gauda Janaika Krupajaladhim Bhajagodrumakanana Kunjavidam. How is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? How is he seen? Hari Kirtana Madhyagatam Swajanai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always surrounded by his associates, Swajanai, and in the midst of them, Madhyagatam, he was engaged in Hari Kirtana. And Hari Kirtana Madhyagatam and Swajanai Pariveshtita, and he was surrounded by Pariveshtita, to be surrounded by Swajanai. And what was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's form like? Jambunadhabha. Abha means a luster, an effulgence that was coming. And Jambunadhabha. Jambunadha means gold. There's a very interesting reason why Jambunadha means gold in Sanskrit. Jambu means it's a fruit. It's a rose apple. And it is described in the Bhagavatam that there are heavenly planets where the rose apples that are there are very, very juicy, and they are very big. And they are as big as an elephant, it is described. And so these rose apples, very, very fragrant, very, very tasty, huge, and with a small seed in it. So it's mostly a fruit. And that falls from great height in the heavenly planets. And then when it falls, it bursts open. And the juice flows. And when this juice flows, it becomes Jambu Nadi. You see, Jambu. The Jambu is rose apple, and then there is a flowing river created. And then when this river flows, and on the banks of the river there are some stones and rocks, and all of them, when it comes in touch with this beautiful juice coming from this in the heavenly planet, that turns gold. And all the heavenly personalities pick up that gold and make ornaments of them. And that's why it is called Jambuna. Jambunada means gold. And Jambunadabha. Abha means an effulgence that is coming. Hari Kirtana Madhyagatam Swajanai Pariveshtita Jambunadhaba Harim Nija Gauda Janaika Krupa Jaladhim. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an ocean of Krupa. He's an ocean of mercy for his own devotees. Nija Gauda Janaika. Gauda, Nija, his own Gauda Jana means his devotees. So for his devotees, he bestows an ocean of Krupa to them. And such a Lord we should worship. We'll read the translation. In the midst of Hari Kirtana Madhyagatam, surrounded by his loving associates, Swajanai Pariveshtita, he is the same dark Lord Hari, but now shining with the luster of molten gold, Jambunadhabha Harim. He is the exclusive ocean of mercy, Krupa Jaladhim, for his own Gaudiya devotees, Nija Gauda Janaika Krupa Jaladhim. Just worship the beautiful moon of Godruma's forest bowers. Bhajagodruma Kanana Kunjavid. Bhaktivinod Thakur is writing here, Giriraja Sutha Parivita Griham Navakhanda Pathim Yati Chittaharam Sura Sangha Nutham Priyaya Sahitam Bhajagodruma Kanana Kunjavidam. He's describing, Bhaktivinod Thakur is describing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here in this verse. And where is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's home? It is in Navadvip. So Giriraja Sutha, Giri Raja, Giri means mountain. Giri Raja means the chief among the mountain. And here Giri Raja refers to Himalaya. And Giri Raja Sutha. Sutha means daughter. The daughter of Himalaya. And the daughter of Himalaya is Ganga. So it's referring to Ganga. And Ganga, who is flowing in Navadvip, and so there he lives in a house which is Parivita, Giriraja Sutha Parivita, surrounded by Ganga. So Parivita, surrounded by. So he had a house and it was a dvipa, and around that there was Ganga flowing. So Giriraja Sutha Parivita Gruham Navakhanda Pathim, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as the Lord of Navadvip. So Navakhanda, that place which was divided into 9 islands, and he is the Lord there. And Navakhanda Pathim Yati Chittaharam. Yati means those who are renounced from this material world. They have no interest in this material world. The renunciants, the sannyasis, Yati refers to those kind of spiritualists. And they have no interest in, their heart is not there in this material world. Such devotees, such renunciates, heart he captures. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu captures the heart of those who are renounced. That's the meaning of the word Yati. Chittaharam. He captures Chittaharam of Yati. Yati Chittaharam. And Sura Sanghanutham, and Sura Devatas, and Sangha, and many Devatas, and they all worship Nutam. They offer their respects to and prayers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Priyaya Sahitam. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Navadvip, he was playing the role of a Grihastha there, and so he was with his Priyaya, his Vishnu Priya, his consort, and so here Bhaktivinod Thakur is referring to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Priyaya Sahitam Bhaja Godra Makhanana Kunjavitam. We'll read the translation. His island home is surrounded by river Ganga, the daughter of the king of mountains, Giriraja Sutha Parivita Gruham. He is the lord of the 9-fold islands of Navadvip, Navakhanda Pathim, and the stealer of the hearts of the renunciates, Yati Chittaharam, along with his beloved wife Vishnu Priya, Priyaya Sahitam. He is glorified by demigods and saintly persons. Sura Sanghanutam. Just worship the beautiful moon of Gotruma's forest bowers. We come to the 8th verse, the last one I had selected for discussion today. And in the 8th verse, Bhaktivinod Thakur says, Kali kukkura mudghara bhavadharam harinama mahaushada danaparam patitartha dayardra sumurti dharam bhaja godruma kanana kunjavitam. This is another very beautiful description of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is his mood? What is his disposition? Is what Bhaktivinod Thakur is describing here. Bhaktivinod Thakur is saying, Kali kukkura mudghara bhavadharam. And kukkura means a dog. Kali kukkura means the mad dog of Kali Yuga. You know how Kali Yuga is? Miserable, cheating, duplicitous behavior, quarrelsome behavior, and all of these things that we see around us in the material world. This is all the effect of Kali Kukkura, the mad dog of Kali Yuga. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought a Mudgara. He's holding a stick. Actually, Mudgara means, it also means it can have multiple meanings. Here it is taken as a stick because you need a stick to control a dog. So he is in the mood of controlling and punishing this Kali Kukura. He is a Kali Kukura Mudghara Bhavadharam. He is wielding a stick to control the effects of Kali Yuga. So if we want freedom from the influence of Kali Yuga, this is the way Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. We must take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he is Kali Kukura Mudghara Bhavadharam. And then, what is his disposition? Harinama Mahaushadha Dana Param. And Harinama Maha Aushadha, the medicine of Harinama, which is the medicine for Kali Yuga, which is the medicine for all the miseries that we are experiencing, the disease of conditioned souls. And he is in a mood of Dana Param. He is in the mood of giving that out. Again you see here Dana Param. He is absorbed in giving out Dana Param, administering this Mahaushadha medicine, Harinama Mahaushadha Dana Param. In another poem of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, I fell at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and received the holy name from him. So we have to receive the holy name from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the mood of Harinama Mahaushadha Dana Param. In the next line, this is a very, very wonderful description of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How is he? He is Patitartha Dayardra Sumurti Dharam. He's actually a personification. Sumurti Dharam, he's a personification of what? Patita Artha. Patita means very fallen. Artha means very distressed. This is what people of Kali Yuga are. We are very fallen and we are very distressed. Patita Artha. And he is Dayardra. Daya means compassion. Ardra means molten. His heart is molten with compassion for the Patita and Artha. And such a personification is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Patitartha Dayardra Sumurti Dharam. So, such a wonderful personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we should worship him, is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur's instruction. We'll read the translation. His mood, bhavadharam, what kind of a bhava he has assumed? His mood is that of wielding a stick, mudghara bhavadharam, for chasing away the mad dog of Kali Yuga. Kali Kukura Mudghara Bhavadharam. He is absorbed in distributing the holy name of Hari, the great remedy for material existence. Harinama Mahaushadha Danaparam. He is absorbed in distributing that. His heart is melted. Dayardra. With compassion. Dayardra. His heart is melted with compassion for the fallen souls, Patita, who are suffering, Artha. And his transcendental form is very beautiful. Sumurti Dharam. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just worship the beautiful moon of Sri Godruma's forest. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's composition is not just 8 verses. There are 20 verses. It's a long composition. But I just selected the first 8 to create an interest in all of you, so that you can go back to the Veda base. In the Veda base, all the 20 verses of instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Instructions to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And I wanted to trigger your interest in it so that you can read more from the Veda base, all the different wonderful instructions of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and describing the glories of Sankirtana movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if we want to advance in Krishna consciousness, in this material world, which is very miserable, conditioned souls. Kali Yuga and all the Rajoguna and Tamoguna is at its peak and influencing us. We simply have to depend on the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have to beg for the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in our chanting, in all our prayers, in all our activities. And by His mercy, we will be able to very quickly advance in Krishna consciousness. And Bhaktivinod, Acharyas like Bhaktivinod Thakur, they are very merciful to us, and they have given all these elaborate instructions how to conduct our lives. And if we do that, and whatever situation we are in, we may be in our homes, we may be in our ashram, we may be in different kind of a situation, it does not matter. That is the universal nature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction, that sthane sthitaha, wherever one is, if he follows the instructions of the Vedic literatures, instructions of Bhaktivinod Thakur, one can make spiritual advancement. And so very, very inspiring instructions, and a song of Bhaktivinod Thakur. With this we will close. Namaste. Hare Krishna.